Today, we are going to talk about the biggest problem with AI content.
Eric hinted about this in our last episode. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It was on how to level up your content in 2023. But we were talking about AI content in there, and it's funny. My team at our ad agency, MP Digital, we were looking at all the APIs for a lot of the AI content generation tools out there. Eric, we literally tested all the major ones. We paid for whether it was the API or just using the software directly. You want to know what the biggest problem we saw?
What?
And we really went in. We used keywords and created articles for B2B, B2C, e-commerce, literally most major industries. I think we did like 40, 50 tests per tool when it came to articles that we created. You want to take a guess what the biggest problem was?
What?
A lot of duplicate and plagiarized content.
Yep. That's what I would venture to say, above 90%.
Not 90%. It was a little bit under 40%, but that was still a large mark. Let me rephrase. In more than sorry about that. Out of all the text that was produced, like literally the sentences, a little bit less than 40% of it was plagiarized content.
You know, I was watching a YouTube video where you saw like this affiliate site basically shoot up to like 4 or 5 million visits a month. And then it used all AI content. And very quickly afterwards, it was torched, meaning that it was basically, you know, all the traffic went away.
Yeah. And what we found is the more specific you get with your content, the more duplicative it is, the more plagiarized it is. The more generic your content is, the less likely it is to be duplicate or plagiarized.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, in the last episode, we basically were talking about how I'm reading this Twitter thread right now. So how to generate AI articles that are 99.98 undetectable, 98.98% undetectable by AI output detectors, right? So keep in mind, like these things are, if it's smart enough to put out this stuff, it's smart enough to know that it's created by AI. So in this example over here, the caption was "write me an article about cheese," and then so it outputs this article about cheese, right? And then you use this tool called GPT-2 output detector demo. So again, you have to search that GPT-2 output detector demo. It's created by a company called 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗨𝗧. Okay, it throws it in there, and then you can see, I'm going to share my screen actually, so Neil can see this, and this will be thrown up onto our YouTube channel, which you all should subscribe to. But you can see over here, the caption or the article gets thrown into here, and it says, you can see 99.98% of it is fake. So it's red, right? So prediction is based on 403 tokens. I don't know what that means, but basically afterwards, it's like, okay, well, let's change the caption. So write me an article, not only about cheese, but write me an article about cheese, but give it a lot of nuance and write it as if a real human wrote it using interesting and unlikely words. Okay, so here's what happens. Cheese is a delectable foodstuff that has been savored for millennia by gastronomes the world over. I don't know what that means, but you can see when you throw it in here, now that this output detector thing shows that 99.98% of it is real and only 0.02% of it is fake, right? And so we're not telling you that you need to game the system, but I'm saying like you probably need to run it through here, and you probably still need to have a human like, you know, write with it, and not completely rely on this like, you know, I think most people would try to do.
Yeah, and this is a great way to make sure. And like I mentioned earlier, what we found is when you get really specific, which is what a lot of our tests were when we're using these tools, the more plagiarized / duplicate content that was created.
I think you can probably get away with like headlines because you're just trying to hook people anyway. And I think that's a good situation.
I wouldn't worry too much about headlines, but it's actually the text that's the issue.
Yep. All right. So that is it for today. Just be careful with how you output this stuff. It's not going to just be like, oh, this is the new way of article spinning. So those of you that are old school SEOs, you know, people used to use these tools to spin articles and like take an article and like change the words a little bit and like things will rank. This will not mean this is a new era of article spinning. It's not going to be that easy. So that is it for today. Please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and we'll catch you later.